Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my opinion. This final test match has come to a close, and India have won this match in a dramatic fashion, with the series being drawn 2-2. Aditya hasn't appeared on this channel for a while. Before I get to him, and I'll get your view on this after I give my thoughts. Where I thought 35 runs to win, 4 wickets remaining. I still thought England were ahead, especially with the first two deliveries going for four. And yeah, from there they showed great character to win this match, and I'll be suggesting some improvements, of course, very shortly. But I think first of all, to win the match from that point showed a lot of character. Aditya is on this channel after all. What do you think about this?
Hi everyone. Yeah, what a series it's been, and a great finale, exciting cricket to watch. It's just summed up this whole series. Just as you think this one of the teams is dominating and they're going to win, there's a twist in the tail, and the other team's also in it for the fight now. And even in that fifth day when England needed about 30 odd to win, they had 4 wickets in hand. Chris Woakes was still to bat, but he was injured, so they basically only had 3 wickets in hand. I was thinking, 30 odd runs, tail enders. I mean, it's only 30 runs. England probably still going to win this, but a great spell from Siraj. I mean, that's what I had to say. It was attacking the stumps constantly. He stuck to his plans, and he knew that he was the one who had to be. He knew that he was going to be the guy to change the game, and he had to set the tone. So, yeah, it was a great game to watch. What do you think?
Yeah, it was, and a lot of people are celebrating that 2-2 is a very good result. And I'll before I say what I'm going to say, I'll say no team travels well. And in that case, 2-2, and in my view, I don't agree that there was as much of a cloud around this team as people thought. Yes, people can say inexperienced batting lineup, but if you've got the skill level, then I didn't think this batting lineup was going to do badly. And expectedly, they've done very well. The highest run getters in the series, all four top four players, are from the Indian team. It's where you're looking at this England team. Do I think it is a great team? No, I don't. They're carried by four batsmen. They've not got a good bowling attack, and with the attack they fielded in this match, which I've mentioned in my previous videos, where I mentioned before, an example, Jamie Overton, I don't think he's someone who can play Test cricket. He bowled a lot of overs in this match. What did he do? Didn't do anything. With the bat, I think he scored about 8 or 11 runs combined. He didn't score runs in the first innings. He got up for a duck in the first innings. So, in that case, man for man, and I've said this in all my previews, India, man for man, are a more skilled team than England. But England have won the moments, the big moments, apart from, you could say, in the last two test matches, England have won the big moments, and that's why they've won the two matches. I feel the biggest thing that's let India down has been team selection and field setting, along with the lengths, both the incorrect lengths. What do you think India could have done better? And then I'll get to what I think.
See, the series was obviously the series was leveled at the end 3-all, right? But for me, I mean, this is just from my perspective. I would see this as an India win because if you see the third test match, right? The third test match was literally India was this close to winning it. There's 17 runs. That anything could have happened. If Siraj didn't play that back onto his stumps, then India might have won it. And the fourth test match, the way that Washi and Jadeja batted to bat it out for a draw, that was basically an India win. England weren't happy. They weren't going for the draw. They wanted anything to win the match. They didn't want India to draw that match. So that's again another example of India win. Coming back from the position that they were. So, and I feel like in terms of the Indian batting unit, just to touch on that, this is the first time where I've seen everyone has contributed. Like KL Rahul, Yashasvi Jaiswal, Shubman Gill with a bucket load of runs this series. Karun Nair, not so much, but he played that vital 50 at the end. Even someone like Akash Deep. And obviously there's Jadeja and Washington Sundar. I think those two batsmen, Washington Sundar and Jadeja, have been the standout in this series for me. They just stepped up, especially Washington Sundar. He really stepped up. I mean, he showed that he's matured as a player. He can stay in, and that 50 he got towards the end, just to push India to give that total. That I would say that was one of the game-changing moments. That quick 50 that he scored to push towards the end. So a team performance as well. Even the bowlers, you see Mohammad Siraj and Prasidh Krishna both taking 4 or 5 wickets apiece in both the innings in this game. So you've just seen how India worked as a team, and that's what stood out to me, and I think that's helped them draw this series. And as you said, England have won those small moments here and there. Maybe had some luck that went their way, and that's why I mean it's been a great series.
And it's where, and on the topic of, you said Karun Nair, this was one of the selection points that
Yeah,
we've been seeing, they've been going this route a lot of time, where all the, as I said, in the top run charts, 4 players are India players. Meaning, do you need batting after the top, and do you need to prioritize a number 8 when you've got players in this good form? Where Karun Nair played, therefore, Washington, who's in such good form, had to bat at number 8 and number 9. The reason why he was dismissed relatively earlier in the first innings is because he walked out too low down, so he was running out of batsmen at the other end. The moment Karun Nair was dismissed, he went for the runs. But in the second innings, he didn't have to slog, and you saw when the opportunity was presented to him, you saw the way he classically dispatched the seamers, and that's I felt that he would have had a luxury to do that in the first innings if he didn't walk out so low where he's running out of partners. He would have scored at least the runs that Karun Nair scored. In that case, we've been saying before, Arshdeep Singh, he's done more in county cricket, and I think he has the skill to play all formats for India. He should have done. Playing a fourth seamer here, India may have scored 20 runs less, but they would have defended this by a good margin, and England wouldn't have got a lead in their first innings if India had played 4 seamers. What do you?
yeah. I think you were spot on there because if we just cover the batting lineup that India went with, they had KL Rahul, Yashasvi Jaiswal, Shubman Gill, then Sai Sudarshan, Karun Nair, Dhruv Jurao, Jadeja, and Washington Sundar all in the same team. Where I think, given Karun Nair's performance this series, he's been vulnerable to the moving ball. His technique hasn't been great, and he hasn't lived up to what he was showing like in the domestic series and even in the warm-up games before. You're right. They could have tried Arshdeep Singh. He would have caused some problems as he can move the ball nicely. But I feel like the only thing is they knew that to level this series, they had to win this game, and they didn't want to take a risk with Arshdeep Singh's first game coming back in. It's probably his first test outside of India. Even his
First test for
first
sure.
test. He hasn't played Test match cricket, and coming into such an important game, they don't want to make such a big change. So that's why they went with the same team. But your arguments were perfectly valid. There's no need to go with this many batsmen.
In my view, there are 2 things. One, I think this experience thing is one of the most hollow arguments. Australia in the World Test Championship final, they left out in-form Josh Inglis, and they played Cameron Green because they said he scored centuries in the county side. I think experience is the most hollow take you can get, because you've seen if someone has a skill level, whatever form of cricket they play, you can derive if that person has a skill level. You can derive whether they'll be able to play other formats. And on that topic, I'll say this: will people agree with this? I don't know. Abhishek Sharma's got a technique to play Test cricket. An example: what's his average in first-class cricket? 31. But he has got a technique to play Test cricket. It's where you look at a player, whatever level, whatever format they're performing at, you've got skill level, and there's something called defining form and friendly form. I feel Arshdeep Singh, despite not playing a test match, he has shown on enough instances, he's shown consistently that he's got the skill level he should have played. And the reason why they didn't play him, according to me, rather than experience, is because they are afraid of the batting, despite the batting doing well. Whenever they go overseas, that is their thinking. We've got to get a batsman, we've got to get a batsman in. and they risked a lot. I think before day 5, the Seamers had bought 118 out of 128 overs, and all the overs on day 5 were bowled by Seamers. And Jadeja, Washington combined the 2 innings have only bowled 10 overs. So it was very one-dimensional towards pace, and in that case, you're also on the one hand, you're scared about the batting when you don't need to be, and that's what prevented them from playing Ashdeep Singh. And people can say worked out 2-2, but as I said, you were very close to losing this match. It reminds me of the T20 World Cup. They effectively lost that match and then won it. And against this England team, I'd say India, skill-wise, man for man, are better. They should have won this series. And what are your views on that?
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing that I've noticed with this series. Because coming back to your point, you made a good point there about batting. Where in recent times, India, when they come to, especially England, right, they've always been afraid of a collapse because in the past, if Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Pujara, if they go early, there's a big collapse in India. Not going to score more than 200 runs, right? So I think this series has changed it, where everyone has chipped in. Yashasvi Jaiswal, he scored a bunch of hundreds in this series, a couple hundreds. KL Rahul, I think, has been in great form in this series. Finally, I mean, he's one of those players who just probably you think be afraid that he's going to score about 30, 40 runs and just get out. But he's been in great form this series. He's really batted well, has taken that responsibility. Shubman Gill scored 700 plus runs this series. I mean, he's batted brilliantly as well. And even if they didn't fire, there's been someone like a Rishabh Pant who comes in and he scored a bunch of hundreds. And Jadeja, we don't even need to talk about Jadeja. He scored pretty much 50 every game. I think only one innings he didn't score 50 plus. And Washington Sundar, who's newly, we've literally just seen. I think he's made his mark this series that he can come in and he can just hold an end at first, soak up the pressure, and then accelerate towards the end to give us a good total. And even someone like Akashdeep, as night watchman, has played that vital knock as well. So this series I hope it changes that thinking of we need to go with so many batsmen because what if we collapse? Because everyone has stepped up and it would have given them the self-belief. And what do you think?
And you said what they should focus on rather than focusing on the batting is, I think it'd be good if they're fearful about the bowling because, and I don't mean them to be scared of something. I mean, so you got Mohammad Siraj. How many wickets he's taken in this series? He's bowled many overs. I'll say this again. I said this in many videos. The problem with Mohammad Siraj is not skill level because you can't do what he's done on instances. You can't do what he's done without skill level. However, the temperament is where he's been playing cricket for many years now. And when you want someone to be a part of the team, when he's been a part of the team for this long, you've got to invest in that player. Example, Mayank Yadav, his action is making him get injured. You assign a specialist just to that player if you believe that player has got the talent to represent the team at the highest level. In this case, Mohammad Siraj, skill level issue, no. Workload issues, he's got one of the best actions. I think he's physically, I think a role model for a cricketer, especially a fast bowler, would be Mohammad Siraj with the physical attributes.
Yeah,
however, the temperament has been found wanting, and an example where you've seen what Paddy Upton has done in the 2011 World Cup, and now with Gukesh, where he recently won the Chess Championship. You've got someone of that pedigree or someone who's similar to him. You sign that person with Siraj and say, okay, you got the skill level. Here's some direction with that. Can the consistency improve? They haven't been focusing on material technical flaws, so I don't think they'll focus on the mental aspects. But they should do that in the same way. Prasidh Krishna, does he hit the correct lengths? No, he doesn't. If someone's a bowling coach, for example, you see, you have a pitch map of lengths he's going for, the purchase that he's not getting all the time because he's bowling those lengths, you try and adjust it. Will they do that? I don't think so, but that's what should happen if you're going to persist with these bowlers. So what's your view on that?
Yeah, I think coming back to Mohammad Siraj, he's been brilliant this series. I think I saw a stat when him and Chris Wilkes have been amongst the fast bowlers who've just been at it constantly, and they've bowled the most number of balls in the series. They both bowled 1,000+ deliveries this series, which is brilliant for a fast bowler. And he especially he's led this last Test match. He knew coming into Test match Bumrah is not going to be playing, and it's up to him to really set the tone and perform well. He needs to perform in order for India to win, because Prasidh and Akashdeep, they play a supporting role to Siraj. Siraj is the leader of the attack. And knowing that, I think he bowled really nicely, attacked the stumps. Everything was, really tight lines. He didn't bowl really these short balls and things like that will give the batsmen easy runs. He got crucial wickets both innings. And it's very hard coming into, last day. You need 35 runs to win. And, other bowlers Prasidh was a bit expensive, giving runs here and there. And you had to get those 4 wickets to win. And it's very hard as a bowler to do that, who's bowled so many deliveries as well. So he's bowled really well. And I get your point about Siraj. Sometimes he can lose his temperament. But I think what Siraj wants is he likes that added responsibility. So when Bumrah is there, we've seen that Siraj's performance is not wasn't as good as it was as this match when he wasn't there, when he was the spearhead of the bowling attack. So I think he thrives in that pressure, with that responsibility. That's when you get the best out of Siraj. So yeah.
But in order for him to thrive consistently, if that would be the case, I mean, in my view, not to disagree with you on this point, but the reason why I think what I said can get in the way is he's played for RCB for 5 seasons before this season.
Yeah.
So previous year, their attack, apart from him, there was no one.
Yeah.
He had a good second half of the season, but in the first half, he also struggled. So it is where, even in that case, and with what he did in the second half of the season, maybe you can say that also worked out. But what I'm saying is, it's where that temperament can also get in the way of something which may be his strength. And that's why I'm saying that has to be worked on. But I've said this before, material technical flaws, no one will work on this. I don't think so, especially since Prasidh Krishna 8 wickets in the match, Siraj 9 wickets in the match. You think, why do we need to change something? Why do we need to fix something that isn't broken? But they may say that, and I'll ask you this question. So India are expected to win at home. They've got the Border Gavaskar Trophy against Australia at home. Looking at the personnel of both sides, India is supposed to win that by a big margin, at least by 4-0, let's say. Yeah. Now, in with the current coaching stuff, I'm not talking about player pool, because there's a misconception to say there's no one else. There are bowlers in India. They're just not being picked. Looking at this coaching stuff, have they shown that ability to adapt? I don't think so. In red ball cricket, in last 12 matches, they've won 3. So, against Australia, where you saw India, they got whitewashed against New Zealand as the second test assigned with this coaching stuff, where someone like a Mitchell Santner in Sri Lanka, the series before, bowls 1 for 192. He then takes 7 wickets in an innings against India. Where do you think that we've seen sometimes with the technical lapses that, with all due respect, Rohit Sharma, Kohli, towards the end of their test careers, they had Rohit Sharma had the technical flaw all his career, but he still succeeded. Kohli, in the last 4 or 5 years, it's the technical flaws emerged. And that's why we saw defense against spin, especially for Kohli, was not great, so he got dismissed. But you saw even the other players under this coaching staff against spinners who are not the most skilled ones, because of the nature of the surface where the ball is turning quite sharply. Even the players who play spin very well, they sometimes got dismissed. So can you say with the nous that the current coaching staff has shown on this tour, and thus far in the test tenures, can you say that despite the resources India have got, they will beat Australia by the margin they should beat them by?
Yeah, it's a good, valid point that you make. I mean, in terms of the actual team, I agree with you in the fact that this test team without Virat Kohli Rohit Sharma and Ashwin is in fact better because those three players were past their prime. You know,
Well,
they were
Ashwin, I'd still say she should have
okay.
played.
Yeah, Ashwin, yeah, he was still taking wickets, but certainly Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma was past their prime and they weren't succeeding in Test cricket, and it's high time that they made the right decision to retire. But yeah, in terms of the coaching staff, Shubman Gill is a new captain. Okay, he does not have the support of any other experienced player in the team that's been captain of the test side, right? He's got KL Rahul, who even in limited overs, he's not a very good captain. We've mentioned this before as well. He's just not a very good captain in general. You've got Rishabh Pant, who has never captained the test side before. And you've got Jasprit Bumrah, who's very on and off, and his captaincy really hasn't been.
It's good, but I
No,
would
no,
say
it's all right, but he hasn't had a long enough run for us to really say that. Oh, he's been one of the great test captains. Okay, so Shubman Gill doesn't have that support, and the only input he has is from the support staff, who probably give him the blueprint of setting all these defensive fields where he's got players out on the boundary in Test cricket, point out on the boundary and long on, long off, or whatever, right? So yeah, that field setting, and he's probably getting certain ideas from the think tank. So Gautam Gambhir and all of the other coaches, right? So that's what you're trying to say, where with the current mentality of the think tank sort of feeding these ideas and tactics into Shubman Gill's head, the wrong ideas and tactic into Shubman Gill's head, with that they're probably going to find it very hard to win against Australia.
and when they shouldn't do. Yeah, you're right. Continue.
They're not going to find it really hard. I mean, the players alone have an immense amount of skill to turn it around and beat Australia at home easily, right? I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
In India, they have the skill to run through Australia 4-0. Okay, even without any of this coach shenanigans or whatever. But I get what you say in terms of the future, in terms of overseas tours, and just future of Test cricket in general. This over input from the support staff into the captain's head is not a trend that should start. I mean, historically, we've seen it with Virat Kohli and even MS Dhoni. No one really told them what to do. They just sort of
Because
had.
they were doing well. I'm saying Shubman Gill, how often is he captained? He hasn't. I'm saying you need the right leaders, and split coaching is available. Sorry to cut you off. It just the split coaching is available, for example, where people on paper, okay, won the Champions Trophy, and promoting Akshar Patel to number 5 was a good call. And it's worked. Do I think it was necessary? I still think KL Rahul should bat at 5, Akshar at 6, but it worked. And what I'm saying is, you can have split coaching if you think that way in one for the white ball formats. For Test cricket, we've seen it's been the other way. They've taken the wrong decisions, meaning there are many coaches in India who have got the skill to manage this team and succeed. And then that's why, especially with India, will never be short of players. It's only about the coaching staff to take them forward. And that is why I agree with what you say, where you talked about the point of you talked about the trend of coaches feeding into sort of the captain. But what I'm saying is Shubman Gill is an inexperienced captain, so he's going to resort to the coach, as you said
Yeah.
at the start. Therefore, when that for now, when that is happening, you need the right leaders.
Yeah,
Same
and you probably need someone who's had a history of doing Test captaincy or who knows about all this stuff. I mean, as far as I can see, no one really in that support staff setup has really captained and done well in.
not only captain, I mean, be a coach. I mean, the thing is, knowledgeable form of, at least to the very least, that
Yeah,
can help. What I'm saying is, if you're a level 3 coach pretender, there are many of. You get those, and they can assist you with something, and especially you could even get a knowledgeable form of what I'm not saying this current coaching staff doesn't have smarts, because they've done well in white ball cricket, but for Test cricket we've seen it hasn't been working. They've been committing the same mistakes across series, meaning there should be a change. The problem now is, and this is why I've been saying at the start, and you had I think with the way you've responded as well, you've also acknowledged that it's 2-2 when other teams don't travel well is a good result, but you also acknowledge that there are these talking points. If they say, right, we've drawn the series 2-2, we don't need to work on the seamers because they've taken 4 wickets in an innings, let's say, in this recent match, are India going to win in New Zealand when I don't know when they last won it? I don't think so.
And they need to focus on the, like, for example, Prashid Krishna. Even though he took wickets in the final Test match, he gave a lot of runs, and the balls that he bowled in certain situations they don't help and put more
Yeah,
pressure on Siraj. Right? I think Siraj, because of that experience and his skill level alone, was able to pull it back. Okay, which was very, I mean, which just highlights how skillful and how good of a performance he put in.
yeah, of
Right?
course.
So there are small talking points like that which the Indian team need to focus on. But coming on to the captaincy part of things, I think Shubman Gill, you know, first time you're given the Test captaincy. Okay, you're just given the Test captaincy. You haven't even captained any format of Indian cricket before. Okay, you're just straight into Test captaincy, which I think is the highest level of cricket.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like no Virat Kohli, no Rohit Sharma, no Ashwin, no senior players in this side to guide you through it. I mean, KL Rahul, people say he's a senior player. I wouldn't say he's a very senior player. I mean,
He's been in and
senior,
out of the team.
yeah. He's a
Jadeja is a senior player. I wouldn't say KL Rahul in the same way as a senior player in Tests.
yeah. But you don't have Rohit and Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Ashwin, your stalwarts. I mean, Jadeja is still there, but three of your major players are lost, which is a big psychological hit. Okay, it's not. I mean, in the hindsight, we know that even though them three are not there, with the talent in the Indian team, they can still manage. But psychologically, for Shubman Gill, it
Yeah,
would have been
it is.
well,
It is.
because he had to get, it was his job to get all his troops together, and you're playing your first Test match as captain is in series as captain is actually in England overseas, right? You're outside of your comfort zone. So, and it's a big challenge, and
He has
given
done
that
well. He has done well.
he's done very well to draw this series.
Yes.
For him, as a first time that he's captaining this Test team, a draw is a very good result. I
I
would say,
mean, he's had no guidance. He said he's had no guidance. He's
yeah,
had
it's
no one
basically.
in the playing 11 as a captain. No one from the coaching staff, in my view, has put any input. So it's only been
And
him.
look how he's led from the front. When he was that 0 for 2 and he literally played that innings and he scored that 100. Okay, that was a top knock. And he scored over 700 runs this series, which is, I'm pretty sure, is one of the records for like one of the
Yeah, it's
highest.
one of the highest. Yeah.
Right, so it shows he's led from the front. He's really taken up that responsibility. Even given the challenge, he's just gone for it, and he's shown that he can do it, which is good.
Yep. So I think that is pretty much wrapping up this series. Do you have any other points to add, or
Yeah. Apart from that, I think this series has been, all of the matches have gone to day 5, and it's just both of the teams have been in it from right in the end, and it's a very tough, closely contested series. I feel like it was very entertaining to watch mostly. Uh, Both the teams were coming in with, inexperience. I mean, drawbacks, because England didn't have the bowling that they used to have. Don't forget, they also don't have like Broad and Anderson this time round against
yeah?
India. India don't have Virat Kohli, uh, Rohit Sharma. Both of them were affected by injuries. Ben Stokes, Jafar Archer didn't play that last test. Chris Woakes getting injured at that time was a very big loss for England, given that Stokes and Archer weren't playing.
And given the attack they had in that match, which effectively only one bowler.
Yeah, and the fact that India lost Rishabh Pant in the fourth test, that would have put them on the back foot. So they had to get Dhruv Jurel into the team. So because of that, I think it's been a very close series to watch and very exciting series. And yeah, in the end, it was a draw, which says it all. Both the teams have been
Yeah,
right
fair
in it.
result. Fair result. Whatever we
Yeah,
say with what we saw in the series, draw is a fair result.
yeah.
So, guys, on that, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, share with your friends. Remember, this is our opinion. What's yours?